Hello, dear learners. Welcome back to the previous year's question paper analysis series, where we don't just prepare for exams, we prepare to understand. I'm your host, Dr. RK, and in today's session, we will be decoding 4 theory-based questions that often appear in political science semester exams. Questions that may look short, but carry depth when handled right. Here is what we are covering. First, what are Locke's views on human nature? Second, explain the concept of general will. Third, write about communism of property. And fourth, what is eternal law? Let's begin. Pen, paper, and presence of mind. Let's start with a common but crucial question. What are John Locke's views on human nature? Now, remember, this isn't just about quoting Locke. It's about showing how his view of human nature shaped modern liberalism. So, what did Locke believe? Locke saw human beings as rational, peace-loving, and capable of self-government. Unlike Hobbes, who imagined life in the state of nature as solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, Locke said, hold on, humans in the state of nature were actually free and equal, and mostly cooperative. His famous line, the state of nature has a law of nature to govern it. And what is that law? That is called reason. He believed that human reason guides individuals to respect others' life, liberty, and property. Now, here is the catch. While humans are reasonable, the state of nature lacks an impartial judge. That's where the social contract comes in. Not to escape violence, but to protect property through a civil government. So in your answer, begin with Locke's basic assumption. Humans are rational and moral. Mention how this differs from Hobbes. Link it to Locke's views on rights, law of nature, and limited government. Locke's view of human nature wasn't just a theory. It was the foundation of liberal constitutionalism. Alright, let's move on to the next. So next up, a concept that's short in question but deep in meaning. Explain about general will. This one is all about J.J. Rousseau. So what is a general will? In simple terms, it's the collective will of the people aimed at the common good. It's not just what the majority wants. It's what everyone wants if they thought rationally and morally. Let's break it down. Rousseau wrote in The Social Contract that individuals must surrender all their rights to the community. In return, they don't lose freedom. They gain moral liberty by obeying law they collectively create. The general will represents this collective morality. It's indivisible, inalienable, and always aimed at the public interest. Here is the key. It's not the same as the will of all, which could be selfish or based on group interests. General will is abstract but ideal. It guides the state's legitimacy. So in your answer, define it clearly. Emphasize the distinction from majority will. Show its role in Rousseau's idea of sovereignty. And if space allows, mention critiques like how general will could become authoritarian if misused. This idea influenced direct democracy, republicanism, and even modern constitutions. So we are done with Rousseau's general will and Locke's ideas on human nature. Next up is write about communism of property. So what is it? All right, let's move on to a question rooted in radical political thought. Write about communism of property. This concept refers to the common ownership of property, a core idea in Marxist and early socialist philosophy. In capitalist systems, property is privately owned, which leads to inequality, class conflict, and exploitation. Communism of property rejects this. In the Communist Manifesto, Marx and Engels argue for abolishing private property, especially the kind that allows one class to exploit another. They are not talking about your toothbrush or your home. They are talking about capital. That means factories, land, means of production. So what is their goal? The goal is to remove class divisions, create a classless and stateless society, and ensure collective ownership of resources for common benefits. Plato also talked about communal property, especially among the guardian class. But Marxist communism goes further. It's economic, social, and political. So in your answer, define the term, link it to Karl Marx, Engels, mention abolition of private property as a revolutionary idea, and if space permits, mention how socialist states tried implementing it with mixed outcomes. It's a bold idea, often debated, but always significant in political thought. And finally, we turn to a more philosophical concept. That is, what is eternal law? This comes from the medieval Christian thinker Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas defined eternal law as the divine wisdom of God that governs the entire universe. It's the highest form of law, which is timeless, universal, and the source of all other laws. So how does it work? According to Aquinas, God's rational plan for creation is the eternal law. It's not written in books, it's woven into the order of the cosmos, into natural law, and into human conscience. From this eternal law flow natural law, divine law, and human law. Natural law is accessible by human reason, divine law is revealed through scripture, and human law is made by governments. So when we act morally and rationally, we participate in eternal law. When we act unjustly, we go against it. So in your answer, define eternal law clearly as God's rational will, then place it within Aquinas' hierarchy of laws, and then go on to show its influence on the natural rights tradition and later legal theory. It may feel abstract, but this idea is the bridge between religion, morality, and law, and it influenced centuries of Western thought. So, there you have it. 4 heavyweight concepts. Each one is small in wording, but massive in learning. Let's quickly recap. Locke's human nature. It's all about rational, moral, and rights-bearing. Rousseau's general will. The moral compass of a collective society. Communism of property. A radical call for collective ownership, and eternal law, that is the divine reason that anchors all law and morality. These aren't just answers, they are building blocks of political thinking. So next time you see these in an exam, write not just to fill space, but to express clarity, contrast, and connection. This is Dr. Ake, and this has been your 15-minute power session previous year's questions. If this helped, revisit it during revision and share it with a friend who needs just the right push. Until next time, think deep, write smart, stay ahead.